we are back. You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone. This is News Talk WSIC, 105.9 FM, 100.7 FM, 1400 AM. If it's Friday morning, your business matters. We have a special guest today. She's special because she happens to be a family member. But what really works for me is that Nicole has been trying to start a business and thinking about starting a business for years. So I've had the pleasure of watching her grow this from a scared concept to a very successful concept. And I am honored and proud to have the founder and owner of Next Chapter Counseling, Nicole Levine. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So Nicole is my sister. I'm not allowed to call her Nikki, so I'm not going to do it.
Just had to put that out there.
That's right.
Except on Facebook.
That's right. But Nicole, we don't have to go back to 1962, but let's talk about you starting your business, because it was, and there's a lot of people that go through this, a very scary time. You have children, you have a husband, and you weren't comfortable that you thought you could make it work. Talk about those feelings at the very beginning.
It just seemed out of reach. First of all, everybody in my family owns their own business or does their own things or who have been entrepreneurs. My mother included, who had a daycare in our own home. So right. I have seen it through everybody. So that seemed, and I am younger than everybody else. So it just seemed so out of touch and something that wasn't for me. That was for everybody else. And it just felt safer to be in an organization.
Because you never saw yourself as being self-employed. That wasn't your goal.
No. And as soon as I said I was going to go to school and get a master's in social work, my brother said, and we're going to put a shingle outside the door and it's going to say your name and you're going to have people come in for counseling. And
I saw it, Vagnone and Vagnone. I saw it.
And then I got married and that wasn't going to happen anyway. So it never was. And I kept saying, no, that's not what I want to do. I was very confident in that. And then worked at nonprofits and different organizations, and then really started to see what I wanted to do and found a population. And that was the bigger thing too. When I started too, I was very general and we had a lot of conversations and you said, you've got to narrow it down. And I fought.
I was going to say, you're being generous. I remember fights.
Yeah. There were many fights of, you don't understand me. You don't understand my population, normal sibling stuff. He started to make some sense. I will not say he was right. He started to make a little bit of sense and connected me to
Cherie,
people.
what I wanted to do was specialize in her field is
right.
what I want.
Absolutely. And she is doing that now. You are doing that, which I think is fantastic. I'm a big believer in niches and really being focused in on who you can serve the absolute best. But what I also hear, if you finally decided to go into business for yourself, which is what most people, when they're really, really scared, is because they finally, I can do this better on my own. I think what I was hearing, and this is some conversations that we've had, is then you have total control on how you approach things in a way that you believe is the best way to serve your clientele. But let's talk about the niche, because I think it's fabulous. And oh my gosh, it's in such demand. So tell us a little bit more about what you do, all the different ways you counsel, as well as who you are serving and focusing on.
Yeah. So I serve senior adults. I use that word very loosely because it is the population of adults that are 55 and up. And it is hard to find a word that encompasses that, because a lot of people will say elderly. Well, when I am 55, do not call me elderly.
Right.
When I am 70, do not call me elderly.
Yeah.
So older adults, okay, maybe a little bit, but it still can. So adults, I work with adults and I provide counseling services in their homes, in their communities. I do walk and talk, which means we go to parks and we walk around or around their neighborhood, because it's a little bit easier to feel comfortable than just sitting there looking at me one-on-one and they're going, what am I supposed to say to you? You're judging me. You're using the book on me, as my brother would say.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit easier for us to be around nature, and that air really helps, which I hope Tracy is listening. Tracy, if you're listening, I want to meet you so badly, and to be able to say hello. I listened to your show.
Julie, she loves Tracy Austin. She wants Tracy's show more than she does mine, by the way, just so you know. Nikki, what you just said is evidence that you really get it.
Yeah.
Obviously, our mom was with me for this week. She pretty much stayed watching TV indoors. Yeah. Just the idea of somebody walking the neighborhood with her is a treat that they don't do that often. Mm-hmm. So it sounds simplistic. I walk around the neighborhood with them, but the truth is they might not have left the house for 5 days.
Exactly. And so it's not just walking though too.
Exactly.
But it's not just walking around the neighborhood. It's about providing a service, a counseling service for when they are depressed or anxious or they're going through a transition. They might have just moved in with their loved one or lost a loved one, and they need to talk about it. But like you have been all week, you have been busy. You've only been able to go down.
That's right.
You've been going down there downstairs every 2 hours to kind of check in, you said, or making meals. But if they have somebody that is their special person and it goes, I get to tell you all my stories. You haven't heard my stories 20 times. This is helping me process. This is helping me feel better. That helps the family in turn as well. And I work with a lot of caregivers that are going through this.
That, you just hit on the next thing, which is so true. By you helping my mother, you're making me feel better that she does have a place to talk and communicate. Because even if I had the time to talk, I probably wouldn't get it. Right? I mean, I know it might be hard to believe, but I'm not a sensitive kind of guy, you understand, right? I get a little uncomfortable when somebody buys me breakfast, right? So that's important for the family members also.
Yes. And caregivers, they have just as much stress, if not more, than their loved one. They're having to wear many hats. And so it's just piling on top of them. And so for them to have another resource, for them to have somebody else to go, what's going on? Is this normal? How can I support my family member? That's an added resource for them, as well as being a part of the senior community. As I've been, I have started to connect with so many resources. You've had a few of them on your show, and there are hundreds more. It is a close-knit community. It is a community that has made becoming an entrepreneur easy.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Because they want to help one another. That's the other thing that I found since being in a small business. There's not a competitiveness. When I first started and you said, do this, I thought, I can't compete with everybody. I'm not. Mm-mm. I reach out to Cherie and she says, how can I help you?
That's right.
What can I do? Let's work together. I'm going to give you people. I'm going to help you. I'm going to connect you. And I'm like, you're going to help me?
Right.
You're going to, okay. And so I have found that so much, especially in the industry that I'm in, the senior
and I will say this is the Charlotte mentality, the whole Charlotte marketplace, this whole area, the North Carolina in general. That's something, as I brought my business here from Ohio, that was very, just so welcoming. And that's why North Carolina is still one of the best places to start and grow a business for that reason.
Let's talk about something that you really can appreciate.
Yeah.
Hiring, because I know this about you, right? So it's the same thing with Nicole. Hiring Nicole to help brings the resources that you would otherwise not have.
Right.
And in some cases, that may be more valuable than what Nicole is providing that particular day,
well,
right?
Well,
and that's
especially with
really
her
important.
niche, especially with your niche, because I work with in-home health and I've got other clients, so I'm very familiar with your niche.
Yes.
And the thing is that people, they don't know what they don't know.
Right.
They're so overwhelmed, especially caregiving families, all the different levels, whether it's siblings or whether it's a spouse or whether it's the daughter or son or whoever it is, so overwhelmed because they have a life they're running too, and they're trying to help with the life of someone they love, right? And they don't know what the resources are because this whole aging thing seems so new in so many ways. And, as mom or dad starts to change a little bit, that's really hard emotionally, and yet you still have to be there to take care of them in the right ways and know and know stuff that you don't know.
I'll give you an example.
You being a resource is huge.
Nicole and I were talking about my mom. She wanted to go to the doctor, right? And Nicole's busy. Her husband's busy. I'm 45 minutes away, right? Mm-hmm. My brother's in the mountains. My other brother's in
Rhode Island.
Yeah. And we're like, how do we get her to the doctor's office? Because she's not going to Uber, right?
Right.
Then Nicole reminds me, there's an entire organization out there
that
will help do that, right? You
Well,
may never, if I didn't
there's
have Nicole, I wouldn't even know that service is even available.
a service that I would like to find here, a nonprofit that helped my mother when she had to go into the hospital. It's just like hospice, but it's called hospets for pets. And it's such a brilliant idea in Ohio, and I'm trying to convince this person to take this across the country.
Right.
Because what she did is she took care of the pets while that that elderly
Yeah.
person was not able to do so. Or when she was recuperating, she came in, took the pet to the doctor. It was just such a it was such a beautiful
Nikki, that's
concept.
a whole other business we can add.
Oh goodness, I'm still trying to wrap my head around this one. It's,
But I'm telling you, that was such a brilliant thing, and she really needs to take it across the country. That'd be a great resource for you too, something like that. Yeah.
I love having all the resources. I love being able to reach out to people. And that's something that, too, I knew I had that connection and I continue to build it. There are continuously networking events for my industry, and I go to them and meet up with them and to make sure everybody's there. But that was something else when we started to build my website that I noticed, too, was how important it was to make sure that other people knew what I knew.
Yes.
I know what I know,
Right.
but I have to make sure that I'm conveying it.
Well,
Yes.
and you know, Nikki, you fought me for years because you didn't want to be self-employed,
Yep.
but that was very helpful for you because the organizations you worked for taught you all of the resources, financial and otherwise, to help people. So
Yeah.
being involved in those large organizations made
absolutely.
it easier for you to tap into these places. So your experience really did matter.
Yeah.
Well,
and
and so-
I still refer back to them.
Right. And I tell my entrepreneurial clients all the time is that everything that brought you to this point is valuable. Everything.
Let's take a break. When we come back, Nikki, we're going to dig into what does a average profile for a client look like for you in case there's some crusty-toed man out there looking for some help or something
goodness.
like that.
Oh,
These
my
women are really looking at me with disdain in their eyes. If it's Friday morning, your business matters and somebody is upset with Joe. We'll be right back. And we are back. You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone. This is the #1 talk business radio show in all the villes. I mean, from Statesville to Huntersville and all of the towns in between. This is News Talk WSIC 105.9 FM, 100.7 FM, 1400 AM. If it's Friday morning, your business matters. And we are talking with the founder of Next Chapter Counseling, Nicole Levine. Nicole, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. And yes, she is my sister. And we were talking before the break. What does a customer profile look like for you? Like, what is the perfect client for you that you say, I got this, I know I can help them?
Yeah. Well, it's actually more than just, it is a person. It is somebody who is 55 and up, going through some transitions, might have lost a loved one, have just moved into town, going through some depression, some anxiety, may not even understand how they're feeling, but they're just not feeling like themselves. And they need a safe place to explore that, a place of no judgment. That's why they're coming to me, not you.
That's right.
And,
That's right.
And so they would come to me, and then we would be able to sit down and talk, come up with a plan, a treatment plan of how to move forward. And they
What
would have
does that
sit.
when you say treatment plan, you say it like you know exactly what's in your mind's eye, but I have no idea what that means. What does that mean? What's a treatment plan look like?
Well, good. That means I sound confident. Well, it's actually very.
You do sound like you know what you're doing. Now, I don't mind telling you.
She really does.
It is very person-centered. So I can't say this is exactly what would happen when you come, because it depends on the person that is coming to me. Because we all come with different things. Just because you've lost someone or that you've moved or you're going through a transition does not mean that you're going to come and see me and I'm going to go, here's your cookie cutter response. Right. We need to sit down and figure it out. But there are therapeutic techniques that are evidence-based, which means they have been proven, that can be helpful. And that's what I mean by saying a treatment plan.
So, Isaiah, pull up on the book her website. It is a phenomenal website, and it really does answer some of these questions, right? It takes people through what you can do. I love the whole differences, all of that stuff. And you are unique in that your life experiences have prepared you for this. You have been working in this field as long as I can remember.
It actually started when I went to graduate school at Boston University, and I wanted to work with children. And I said I was only going to work with kids. And they said, well, we will give you a grant if you actually go and work with senior adults. And I said no. And then I found out how much it costs to live in Boston, because I live in Charlotte my whole life. And I said, I would love to do this program. And it was a major stepping stone in my life.
It was a big aha for you, it sounds
it
like.
Was. It is amazing, because you get to work with people that are understanding, they want to make a change. And not only do you get to work with the adult, you get to work with the family.
Next chapter counseling.com. It really is a great website to get you a lot of stuff.
nextchaptercounselingnc.com. Yeah.
I'm sorry, say that again.
nextchaptercounselingnc.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It's long.
So,
okay.
so when we talk about all of the services that you have, it surprised me that there's different ways to do this therapy.
That's what's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think you come into an office when you see a therapist or a counselor. Those words can be interchangeable. And they think that you sit on a couch. Some people think back and they say, I'm supposed to lay on a couch and talk to somebody. And that is
I thought.
Not necessarily the case. You can go into an office and see somebody, but I have never had an office building where I've had people come, and that was on purpose.
Right, because they're more comfortable in their own environments.
They are,
Yeah.
but there was another reason to that as well, because if you're a caregiver, like we were saying, and you're pulling and your life is going in different directions. I was talking about how, summer camps, they want me to take half days to go and see my kids. I don't have that extra time then to go, okay, let me take my mom to counseling today.
Right.
It makes it harder for the loved one who may not have transportation. And so I wanted to eliminate that. And so that's why I go to the person. That's why we find a place.
And it's not just in home. It's where do you want to meet?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it
Right.
could be anywhere.
It can be. It can, as long as it's safe, it's confidential, and we're going to be able to do the work. And I go to a lot of communities, and I want to point that out. I am involved in a lot of senior communities in the Charlotte area and in Davidson that say, we need this service. We don't have this service in-house. We want you to be our person that comes in. And so I have a lot of residents.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
I'm in about 7 different places right now and have a lot of people and get regular and consistent and collaborative.
And Cherie, yes, she is my sister, but that says a lot
Right.
that these communities are choosing
It absolutely
Nicole to
does.
do that.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
So, Nikki, just so you know, Julie loves you. She's got your website on the book.
Oh, great.
So if you're interested, please check that out as well. And so you live in the Matthews area. So what general area is a good place for you to work out of? And when I say that, I'm looking on your website, and you do the whole telephone thing.
I do telehealth, so I am available.
Telehealth.
All of North Carolina and South Carolina, actually. I am licensed in North and South Carolina. So it's
not about location as long as they're comfortable doing
And
that.
licensure. It's about location. Yeah, it's licensure.
Yeah. But I will go in the home. More of the South Charlotte area is easier just because I have to be able to have enough time to get from home to home. If I don't, I'm very honest with the family. I'm not going to start with you if I'm not able to be consistent. That's
Right.
very important. Mm-hmm. And I just want to add that the website is so beautiful because Cherie helped design it and do everything for it. It is beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I like to hear.
So for me, Nikki, I'm curious. Walk me through how I decide how I want you to help me, right? Because I don't know if I'm allowed to say the old crusty toad man.
No, you're
You are
not.
not
I'm
allowed to say that. That's
the old crusty toad man. Is he going to be comfortable on the computer talking to you? How does he get comfortable with that?
So I'm glad you asked that question. First of all, when I have an electronic healthcare record system, which is the exact same as you use when you were at the doctor's office. So all my records, insurance cards, everything, and I do accept insurance, which is something that does make me pretty special in the field because a lot of people don't accept Medicare. It's pretty hard to find. But I have that. And through that system, I have my telehealth. So it's a secure site. It's not just Zoom. We're not just going on Zoom and talking. We're not FaceTiming. It is a secure site. So once it's set up, you just have to click a link in your email
and then
it should open up.
Yeah.
So a lot of families help them get set up. A lot of the adults feel comfortable. They've become very used to this technology.
Because of
Pandemic
Zoom,
has
because of
helped
the
with that.
pandemic. The pandemic really brought 55 and older, those who weren't as technologically savvy, into becoming more savvy. It's the highest growing internet user currently from a trend standpoint. Yeah.
So, and let me tell you something.
I
If
was doing
Cherie
this
says
before.
it's a fact. You understand that, don't you? So you touched on something, Nikki, which is I'm not paying this out of my pocket. There are plenty of ways and services that people can get help.
Yeah, absolutely. Your insurance will pay. Now, you might have a copay or there
Right.
might be something. And I do have a biller that I have just brought on. Very excited about that. Speaking
Proud of
about
you.
bringing people
Proud
on
of you.
for help. Learned that from this show. Bring people on. Yes. Get the help you need. They are worth every
Income-based
penny.
time management.
They are worth every penny. And most of them have been co-hosts on this show because I have seen them on the show and really seen their expertise and hear what they had to say. So
you hit right where I want to go. We got about a minute and a half left. Talk to the people that are thinking about starting their own business. You are that person. Listened to the show for years, heard me pound on you for years, and you finally started. I can remember when you were saying, Joe, I got to have 12 clients to equal the amount of money I was making
that happened in
working
like a
for
week,
the
right?
working for the man, and you passed that in less than 3 months.
Yes.
So walk somebody through that. What would you say to them thinking about starting a business?
believe in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Believe in yourself more than you do, because I didn't think that I could do it. Have strong people around you that will guide you and that will just say, hey, look, have you thought about this? You don't have to agree with everything they say. Joe and I do not agree on most things, but I always get something from it, and it makes me think harder, and it makes me expand. And that's what you want. You want the people that are going to push you outside of your comfort zone.
Absolutely.
And so say your website, how somebody can reach you.
You can reach me through nextchaptercounselingnc.com. Phone number is 704-412-2125. And that's how you reach me right now.
Great. You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone. And if it's Friday morning, say it, Tree. Say it, say it, say it.
Your business matters.
Yeah. We'll see you next week.